Hello again. Excuse me, starting off wrong. Anyway, welcome again to another little session of Bible Bits. Again, like the last one, I think it was the last one I did, but anyway, it's not going to be as short as a normal Bible Bits, but since it's not a regular talk, uh, it don't involve too much scripture. Uh, I'm just putting it in the category of Bible Bits. Um, but it's going to be intense, and particularly to those who it may pertain to. But I hope you enjoy it. All enjoy it and find it very useful. Nevertheless, okay. Commitment. Commitment. Well, a situation occurred the other day that made me think about that word and its meaning. Commitment. In short, this is it. And mind you, this is only for those who say they believe in God, okay? If you are in a relationship that involves any sexual intimacy, who exactly are you committed to? Or, in other words, any sexual intimacy outside of the commitment of marriage, we actually abolish or negate our belief in our God. Not only that, but those who are indulging in such activities and we who accept it put ourselves in an inescapable moral dilemma beyond the surface of what some of us may see. So, first, we'll address casual sex and sex with another besides your legal spouse if you're married, since it's the easiest to rebuke scripturally, all right? Straight up wrong. that's all that can be said. It's blatant fornication and adultery. So we'll move on to the second one. That was easy enough, right? And by the way, if you just blatantly fornicating and adultery and talking about you believe in God, whatever, okay, that's another talk or discussion or whatever you want to call it. But we can sum it up with one word: hypocrisy. The second one we will address is cohabitation, and that would be living together without the benefit of legal matrimony and having sex in the process. If you're not having sex, okay. But first, I want to address the commitment of marriage term I used for those who may be scoffing at that notion as only optional institutions of societal norms and having nothing to do with one's belief in God. When I say commitment of marriage, we are speaking of something that is recognized legally by the government, correct? Some may say, my love don't need to be recognized by the government, as I'm sure a lot of us have heard. And to that, my answer is really? If you are an American citizen, your very existence and livelihood needs to be recognized by the government, starting with your social security number and ending with whatever career you choose, since most of those careers, if not all, in some form or fashion, need some type of certification, license, or some kind of education. That entails society and the governments society created, correct? Even if you are self employed and there's no particular skill set for your business, you still need a DBA. And the letters DBA stands for registering your business as doing business as DBA. And you have to pay taxes or should pay them. If you don't and you get caught, you're going to jail or going to have to pay them your money that you got from, I guess, society, that you say what society don't matter. If you don't pay them, you're going to jail, and what you believe and think about society and all of that is null and void. You can talk all that stuff while you incarcerated, and nobody gonna listen to you. So, but anyway, but the only way you could have avoid whether having a Social Security number or DBA is you would have to live in an underground and or illegal existence. And even if you're just making a living selling scrap metal, and now you may even need ID to do that. And I hope you are doing it by way of a stolen grocery cart, or you will also be driving illegally since you need a license to drive. So we have covered that pointless notion of what doesn't need to be recognized by society or governments or the governments it has created. But you notice somehow we only want to use that excuse for our so-called love for one another. Yet, when as a believer, we may also want to quote, God is love. That's come from 1 John 4:8. And that same God from that same Bible says, let all things be done decently and in order. That'd be from 1 Corinthians 14:40. Decently and in order. Shacking is not decent nor in order to a person who professed to believe in the Judeo-Christian God with the Bible that those believers go to for reference, if you will. And if we are to adhere to or commit to man's governments for our existence and livelihood, how much so should those who profess to believe in God adhere to or commit to their Creator for our existence and livelihood? Now, here's that moral dilemma that I spoke of, that many of we believers may face, possibly without even being aware of it. If we are, as believers, have a loved one who is cohabitating, and loved one could be anybody, right? That is who is cohabitating with someone, having intimate relations, and those believers accept it wholly with zero, fully, wholly. I don't want to confuse it with HOLY, okay? With zero rebut or reprimand, that puts us in a severe moral dilemma, whether we know it or not. How or why, you may ask? If we are so accepting of those who subvert God's will, laws, or commandments, then where does it stop? How far are we willing to go or already have gone in this acceptance? How far down the rabbit hole will we go? This is what we are doing when we are accepting this type of behavior, folks. So, hey, soon as our kids hit puberty, go and supply them with contraceptives and preventions for any STDs they may get. Not only that, let them have unlimited company using their rooms for their sexual activity. For those who are married, let your spouses bring anybody they want in the house to have sex with. If you accept it unflinchingly from a loved one, why you don't accept it for yourself? And if it is your girlfriend slash boyfriend or fiance that you have been having premarital sex with, who you found out had sex with someone else while with you, but they didn't cheat on you, no more than you and them have been cheating on God. If it is your spouse, they didn't cheat on you. They cheated on God, which is why that is the only one of two reasons God allows divorce. The other reason is death. Because it is never about us and what we accept. God is first and foremost, and it is what He accepts. Yes, He forgives, as should we. But forgiving and accepting are two entirely different things. And I'm not saying it needs to be constantly harped on or beating the person's head about it. But what I am saying is that that person has lost all moral or leadership authority when it comes to God. At best, they are fooling themselves, and at worst, they are delusional. In the Amplified version, version of the Bible, Amplified Bible, there's a notation in between the verse of Galatians 6 and verse 7. And that verse is this: do not be deceived. God is not to be mocked. And some translations read, God is not to be shamed. And that notation reads, He will not allow himself to be ridiculed, nor treated with contempt, nor allow his precepts to be scornfully set aside. Don't be talking about, well, I don't do it scornfully. You do it. If you're doing it, you're doing it scornfully, okay? just doing it. Don't be talking about some word that's gonna absorb you from it, because it says scornfully. Anyway, for whatever man sows, this and this only is what he will reap. Now, me personally, I have been through too many trials and tribulations in my life and have seen too much of God's goodness and grace given to me to play around with Him. But for those who are seeing this, you can do what you want. But you will be doing it at your own peril if it is not within the realm of God's will, laws, and commandments. Simple as that. Okay? The end. And have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Love you always.